Hey everybody, it is Mike, 55 years young. Just found out about this Live to 150 China project for their head government people. Didn't even know it existed. It intrigued me. So let's find out a little bit more about this and find out what their approach is, because I have a book, as you may know, Live to 150. Watch it for free or listen like a podcast or audiobook at liveto150.org.
Entirely separate from the lives of ordinary citizens. One example is Project 981. It's a secret healthcare and longevity program designed exclusively for China's elites. The goal is to help leaders live to 150 years old. Organ regeneration is one of its key priorities. The program was first exposed in 2019 and is back in the spotlight now after a hot mic moment involving Xi Jinping and Vladimir Putin. At a military parade last week, they were caught discussing.
Okay, so they're basically going to say, hey, when you get old, your organs are going to wear out. So what are we going to do about that? We're going to replace them. That's what it sounds like. And I've always had a problem with this organ transplant replacement thing, because as I found out now in 2025, 90% of healthcare costs in the US are non-communicable diseases. You're doing it to yourself. If you have an organ failure, most likely it's going to be something that you've created that caused the failure. So even if you replace it, yes, you might get a few more years of life, but you're going to end up in the same position because you're not addressing the root cause. So also, it incentivizes people not doing everything they can to save your life if somebody important needs your organs. And like over here in China, the highest ranking people want your organs.
Immortality and organ transplants.
Immortality.
Well, state-run CCTV moved to quickly censor footage of the conversation, both inside and outside of China. The phrase "live to 150" is now lighting up search engines across China. So what is Project 981? China's Project 981 was launched in 2005 and is focused on longevity and organ regeneration. Its official name is the 981 Health Project for Top Leaders. The project is run by military hospitals, most notably the People's Liberation Army's 301 hospital in Beijing. In 2019, the hospital advertised an ambitious plan on social media.
Okay, now some people may initially have some kind of a backlash on this, because they're automatically saying that it's for elites. It's for top-ranking government officials. So you can see the difference in the value of life there between somebody who's in charge and somebody who's just a worker peon, a wage slave, or whatever you might call them. Anybody else below those super high 1%ers or whatever. Now, is there a project like that going on in the U.S.? Probably in secret. But this is also, it sounds like it wants to be in secret, but was revealed. But the other problem is, it's not as bad as you think, because over in the US, where everybody seems to treat everyone equally from a health perspective, everybody's chronically ill. So it's not like you're getting any kind of actual benefits by making it equal for everybody. And I don't think this is a way to go either, just so you know, because I do think you should just live in close alignment with nature. And by doing that, this health will happen automatically. You will not torpedo your organs. You won't need to replace your organs. I don't see this as a good longevity strategy.
To help party leaders live to 150 years old. The hospital also claimed that by 2008, Chinese leaders had an average lifespan of 88 years, 10 years longer than their counterparts in the US and the UK. The ad was swiftly scrubbed from the internet the following day. But now, 6 years later, at the military parade, Xi Jinping seems to have unwittingly confirmed it live on state-run TV. The goal of helping leaders live to 150 was set in 2005, publicly advertised in 2019, and in 2025 seemingly confirmed.
Okay, nothing wrong with this. It should be this way. Why do you think my book's called Live to 150? Because everybody's doing almost everything wrong. What if you did almost everything right, which is just simply changing your habits? You should be able to double your lifespan, and it should all be health span. So this is a good, attainable goal, and it's really attainable for everyone. And guess what? I never talk about organ transplants in my book, ever, because none of that is required for health. In fact, it has nothing to do with health necessarily, because, like I said, you could just be if you're doing all these things that are destroying your kidneys, every time you get a kidney transplant, you might just burn through another kidney transplant because you haven't addressed the underlying causes.
Confirmed by Xi Jinping himself. The cost of this elite-only healthcare program remains unknown. It's shielded under the same veil of secrecy as the Chinese Communist Party's official budget. And even more noteworthy, the timing of Project 981's inception coincides closely with the rapid expansion of China's organ transplant industry and mounting international concerns over evidence of forced organ harvesting from living people.
There you go.
It's a story the Chinese regime doesn't want the world to hear. A secretive medical program, an alleged organ supply chain, and a promise of longevity for the powerful.
Okay, you got to realize that the human body is regenerative. Regenerative. You don't have to replace parts as part of regular maintenance like on a car. A car is not regenerative. Something wears out. Yeah, you have to replace it. But this is not how the human body works. I think their understanding of the human body is kind of like more like the general understanding in the 70s and 80s when I grew up, almost. I mean, I can't believe that they're still thinking like this.
It's all resurfacing after a viral hot mic moment. Senior China analyst Alan Zheng helps us unpack the chilling backstory. Alan Zheng, thank you so much for joining us. Great to have you on the show.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me.
Now, the hot mic moment between China's Xi and Russia's Vladimir Putin are still making the headlines to the point that, some media have actually taken it down due to pressure from the Chinese regime. Why do you think that hot mic moment is catching the public's attention so much? People often talk about longevity. Why do you think this moment is making the rounds?
Why make a big deal of that? Actually, it's because of in the last, I would say, 20 years, and there has been, circling around about in China, Chinese government has been doing this organ harvesting to extend the longevity of their top leaders. It is something that people...
All right, now organ harvesting, that term is the real issue here, in my opinion. Let me know what you think in the comments. But organ harvesting, like I said, that has nothing to do with longevity or health span. And unless you want to be able to constantly abuse yourself and be able to quickly make up for those mistakes and gain more time. That's the only reason why you would indulge in this organ harvesting. So they're completely approaching this in the wrong way.
Some people believe it. The public generally, is looking at this with a suspicious eye. But this hot mic, actually, I think it alerts the media. Actually, the video came from CCTV's own footage. Okay, actually, as they recorded, they were not aware of it about that themselves. But some media, I think it's BBC. They've been hearing this. With a sensitive ear of a media, they dug into it, and then actually, I think they amplified the volume to make this a matter. But once that is made public, then whoever has the insight about the organ harvesting practice of the CCP or the Chinese government, then they start to open it up. Then that touched a sensitive nerve because it's something that really exists. It does exist. That's what I know. I've been reporting this for nearly 20 years, okay? And it does touch the sensitive nerve. So they jump up, try to cover it up. But it's like, water already spilled. They try to retrieve the spilled water. That's essentially what is happening. It's very, very awkward to them and only make this matter even bigger.
A lot of people are asking, well, where's this organ supply coming from that they're talking about just continuously transplanting, right? Well, you need bodies for that. So who's providing all of these organs? Just shed a bit of light on that for us. Where is the bulk of this coming from?
Okay, let's back up a little bit. There's a story behind this.
Good question.
Just actually not long after the CCP established its rule, okay, starting from the Mao Zedong era, the party has been providing the top leadership with special medical, protection, and to the party, their ruling class, that's a privileged class. Okay, so they have been treating their top leaders just like that, always with special treatment, special care, and so actually in the 2005, under the then leader Jiang Zemin and Hu Jintao, there was a major upgrade to that program. It's called the 981 Leaders Health Project. The most actually important new element at that time was the development of the organ transplantation from the medical phenomenon into a inhuman industrial chain in China. From the year 1999 to the year 2005, due to the persecution of Falun Gong, the CCP suddenly, they obtained a previously unavailable, and to them, a precious organ bank, basically detained Falun Gong practitioners. This is a meditation exercise group that is, viewed by the CCP as the enemy of the party. So they retain many of them, and they practice meditation. They're very healthy, and they took their organ and then transplant them to restore the.
All right, they say these people were very healthy. They practiced meditation. They took, it seems like intentionally, very healthy organs. And these leaders probably don't practice. It's interesting. They're not focusing on the health practices, the health habits of the leaders. They're just using this as like a bandage. And it's all wrong on so many levels, if you ask me. It should not be like this. And they're wasting their time. They're better off focused on their own habits.
Failing health of party leaders. And actually, in that 6 short years, the number of liver transplantation in China grew from an accumulative 135 before 1999 to more than 15,000 in 2006.
Oh my gosh.
That's an astounding 180-fold growth.
Yeah.
That experience brought about this major upgrade of this to this 981 program. And then about 10 years later, by March 2014, this program has advanced to a full industrialization. So in that month of that year, in Beijing's Haidian Haidian district, the 981 Health Technology Group company was established. This 981 company, they have served over 3,000, they call it a million level leader members. So they got the 3,000 members, elite members, who could be their patients or the customers, however you call it. So in recent years, what happened in China is that there has been a lot of report about the high school students suddenly gone missing.
Oh my gosh.
They may well be the source of live organ harvesting. And because once this practice becomes commercialized and the demand is surged, and then the crime inevitably spread across the society.
I know that over the years I've brought up my theory about not wanting to be an organ donor because of the increased motivation or increased incentives for people to not save my life or to help to save it. And look, this guy's just telling you the end game of this whole thing. They're finding high school students who are disappearing and taking their organs. I mean, that's just insane. But if you follow the incentives, what's incentivized here? They're not incentivizing good habits and just good behavior. They're incentivizing replacing parts, and this is where it takes you.
You need to understand that down the chain, there's there's other companies who saw this as they are the supplier of
opportunity,
the organ. And then at that time, about 10 years ago, it's $100,000 for a kidney, and $200,000 to $300,000 for liver, and then this has driven various illegal means and fake accidents.
Fake accidents
and persecution, and even armed group, using violence to obtain organs. That has been happening in China. So within the CCP's top class, when the organ failed, it's simply replaced, and then they do that again and again. That way, the top leader keep lying and keep leaving.
People are going to use this and say, "Oh, this is why communism is bad. This is why China is bad." But it's just incentives, We don't have the right incentives here in the United States to take care of our health. That's why 90% of all medical costs are for non-communicable disease. We incentivize the bad foods. We incentivize the pharmaceutical drugs. We incentivize paying customers flowing through medical establishments by not training the people in how to have good habits, so they don't even tell the patients. It's not any different. Just realize that. I just want to make sure that anybody watching this is not thinking, well, this is why the U.S. is better than China. It's not. We're already so much worse than China on the average person's health. I think that the average Chinese individual is way better off health-wise. I don't think they have 90% of their medical costs going to non-communicable diseases like the U.S.
Well, for a while. And then what is most scariest is, Tiffany, such organ transplantation has become an important gift of CCP to bribe world leaders. They use this to corrupt world leaders.
My gosh. Yeah,
that's possibly one reason, the reason why Xi Jinping mentioned this in that group where you got like 20 to 30, leaders of those countries in Beijing. So this is I would say this is the general background that I see it.
As you mentioned, the 981 project, right, kind of this like special three-tier system to help their selected elites, if you will, live longer, the best medical care, best.
Okay, well, that's about it for this. I don't think we're going to go much more into this. The organ harvesting is what you need to understand is what's going on here. It's super bad. I cannot believe that this is happening, and I guess this is why it's pulled off. But don't think that it's any worse than the way the system is set up for healthcare in the U.S. That's what I don't want you to lose sight on. I'll be interested to read your comments. Thank you so much for watching, and send this to somebody that can benefit. We'll see you in the next one. It's Mike, 55 years young, signing off.